We're here in downtown Canton this week outside the TAUNY Center, where a new exhibit is celebrating a master Adirondack artisan. It's a tribute to Bob Jones, who has been carving wooden bird decoys like these for almost 70 years, since he was 13 years old. For the past several years, he's been perfecting his craft at his studio on the Oswegatchie River in Cranberry Lake, New York, in the heart of the Adirondacks. And late last year, Tom French, who is a regular contributor to Adirondack Explorer, wrote an article about Bob and his lifetime love of creating beautiful wooden decoys. The exhibit, on the second floor of the TAUNY Center in Canton, opened this past weekend and will continue through the end of June.
The topic is very appropriate for TAUNY and our mission, which is to draw attention to and educate people about all the different kinds of living traditions in our region. So clearly decoy carving has a long, rich history here, and that was a very appropriate topic for us. So we have this upper level gallery here at the TAUNY Center. It's a space where the exhibits change more frequently than they do in our street level gallery. We like to use this space as an opportunity to explore a lot of different kinds of topics. So that just seemed like an excellent match.
After writing the article, Tom and his daughter Emma, who just finished her sophomore year at Boston University, paid a visit to Bob and his wife Linda at their studio in Cranberry Lake with lights and cameras. And they produced a video that shares their story and their love of the craft they both so enjoy. We are so happy to be joined now by Tom French and Emma French. We appreciate you taking the time. Tom, you wrote the article on Bob and Linda Jones originally. Had you ever been to Bob's shop before? Had you heard about him?
Only about a year ago. We were taking a drive on the Tully Pond Road. I hadn't been down the road in 10 years. And I saw this sign that says Wooden Fish Hatchery. And knowing the Adirondacks, I'm pretty familiar with where the fish hatcheries are. And I was like, I didn't know about that one.
And what's so great is it looks like a New York State sign. It's brown and yellow, and it looks like an official New York State DEC hatchery sign.
Yeah, exactly. And so we pulled in, it said open, and yeah, I discovered Bob and Linda, gave us a tour of the shop, learned that they really were hatching wooden fish, and decoys as well.
What was it like when you first walked in the shop?
A bit overwhelming. It's a very large shop. It's got very large machines, essentially, that he uses to reproduce the ducks. And he's got sanders that I'd never seen anything like it before. They literally inflate. They spin, but they inflate, and he can control the amount of air that's in these inflatable tubes for the sanders. And then, of course, the machines, I'd never seen anything like those before either. I was familiar with your standard lathes that you use in the wood shop. These are three-dimensional lathes, essentially, that allow him to mold, the three-dimensional aspect of the fish, of the decoys, of the carvings, and they're large pieces of equipment. He carved his first decoy when he was 13 because they didn't have the money for decoys, he and his friends. And one of his friends' father was a well-known decoy artist. Even today, this man's work is quite valuable. Bob learns from him, and then when he gets out of school, he ends up working as a conductor on the Penn Central along the Washington, New York corridor. And then, again, doing the duck carving on the side, opening a mill on the side, retires from the railroad to go full-time into the millwork and to the decoy carving.
And so that's what for the past few decades, he's been doing this full-time.
Yeah, almost since, even as a kid, as a teenager, he and his friends started a club that would meet weekly to carve, but he truly has carved thousands of decoys.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the video. You had written the article at the end of last year, and then Emma, you're a student at Boston University.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Did you see your dad's story and say, whoa, this would be a great video to produce? How did the film come about?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that and a little bit of just, he was very excited about the whole project, and we like to do adventures in the Adirondacks together anyway, so when I first saw and met Bob and Linda and saw the shop, it was definitely very inspiring and overwhelming about how much they had done. And when he came to me with the opportunity from the Adirondack Explorer magazine, it got me really excited and pumped up to actually maybe do some work outside as, some professional work that's not just student work. So that's kind of how it all came about.
How was it producing the video? I mean, it's a great story to tell.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think It was done over winter break, so in between semesters, and it was nice to explore the area in the winter again because I love the North Country. I'm really happy with the way everything kind of came together. And of course, there's so much more I wish I could have put in, but what we saw was good.
The difficulty of being an editor. What do I include? What do I leave on the editing room floor?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's such a tough choice. What's been the response to the video?
All positive. Yeah, I think
that I hear from Bob and Linda that they're calling him Mr. Hollywood, his family and friends. I mean, obviously a lot of people have seen it. They do these shows, they go to decoy shows and craft shows, and people come up to them who have seen it somehow people have heard about it and seen it. So there's this very positive response to it. And I think for Bob and Linda, it's an affirmation of a life's work. I think that he's an esteemed decoy carver within that community, especially. I think decoy carvers, people in that community, know who he is. But I think that this has, certainly within the North Country, has made other people aware that there's this significant artist who is right here in the North Country doing great work.
And he's so humble about it. He doesn't like to show it off at all, but his work really is incredible, and he's done so much. So
I think that at first they were a little nervous, but they forgot the cameras were there. And he's so passionate about his work.
So a lot of them are collectibles. They're used in restaurants, they're used in a lot of settings, not just by people who use the decoys to go out hunting.
Yeah, he explained the transition from hunting decoys into more collectibles occurred for him sometime between the mid-'80s by the early 90s. By the early 90s, his work was more collectible and more decorative. Certainly fancier in terms of the artwork and stuff that is involved in making them. He's meticulous and passionate about his work, and I think that's part of why the craftsmanship is what it is. And he's got some tricks. I mean, he talks about how he'll lightly burn the wood and then use steel wool to raise the grain and kind of give it a rustic look. He has finishes that he has developed himself with recipes that he won't share. And I didn't mean to, I asked him a question once. I wasn't trying to trick him at all, but it came out and he was like, well, that's a trade secret, I can't tell you. and it wasn't like I was trying to trick him or anything, but even Linda doesn't know the recipes that he's using for the finishes.
And Bob's amazing. He's 81, almost 82, and still, does he do this every day? Is he out?
I think he does. I think he does. He's passionate about his work. It's a real love that he has.
Just guessing how many he's done through his lifetime, but thousands.
Yeah, I get thousands. And certainly, even excluding the fish. I mean, the fish, he's made a lot of fish, but they're very nice, and the fish are great, and they're the stringers of fish, but he's clearly made thousands of decoys, clearly, over the years.
And does he talk?
He won't tell you. I don't think he can tell you. I've asked him, how many do you think you made? And he's lost track. I mean, it's not that kind of inventory.
Does he talk about if he has a favorite type of bird or a favorite decoy that he's made through the years?
Yeah, he has. And I think that some of that has changed over the years, but I think most recently he said he really enjoys doing the loon. And frankly, we own one of his loons, and it is a lovely piece. It's a beautiful piece, and so I can understand why he would enjoy it. And he also enjoys making the swans now. He makes this, and that he enjoys doing those.
Is it fun to produce videos like this and share stories like this? And is it a bonus that you get to tell an Adirondack story and maybe carry on this wonderful tradition?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it because it's as much of an exploration for me as it is for the viewer. I had no idea about decoy carving at all. I didn't realize how much effort went into each duck, how much he had worked over the years, I mean, a whole career of this. And that appreciation, I mean, even if I didn't make a video or do anything like that, that appreciation in itself is enough for me, I think.
And it's so nice. Bob's in his 80s now, and so this will really help his legacy live on. This video, hopefully people will see it for years to come.
Yes, that's always the hope, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The Bob Jones exhibit will be running for the entire month of June at TAUNY, which is located on Main Street in downtown Canton, New York. Go to tawny.org for more info.